Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, DC Classics, or Silver Age. I think it actually says Silver Age on the box. Hal Jordan Green Lantern, and this is that from that weird digital NFT, digital Build-A-Figure, wave, whatever. Nobody cares. We're here for this Hal Jordan, and I couldn't be happier with this figure. I'm going to do some mods, of course, they're McFarlane figures, you're always going to have to do mods on them and stuff like that to give them more articulation and fix some proportional issues and whatnot. But like, if I bring in Barry real quick, he's, his torso is a little bit longer and all that stuff. I'm going to be doing that same thing to Hal and just changing out the crotch piece and probably switching the neck peg to make his head sit up a little bit higher, and then in turn his torso sitting a little bit higher as well. But as the figure stands, it's not a bad figure at all. It's a phenomenal figure, and I couldn't be happier to have it. I only have a couple of issues with it, and they technically aren't issues. They're just things that, for quote-unquote continuity purposes, it would have been cool to have. But without further ado, let's get into what Hal comes with. So as you can see on him right now, he has a pair of fists, which, these look really good. These are the standard fists that we've seen, at least on this side, and then this side it actually has the ring sculpted, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that real quick. Which this looks really good. It's painted very well. I'm very happy that that turned out as good as it did. Then Hal also comes with a gripping hand, and it was a little tight, so I just decided to put it on the lantern to keep it on there, and of course he does come with a lantern. This looks really good as well. We've seen this sculpt a couple times. I think it's the exact same sculpt as the one that came with Kyle, but it is a little bit darker of a green, more traditional Green Lantern green. And then it's the same sculpt as the one that came with Sinestro, obviously in green instead of yellow, and just looks great. And then for his last hand, he comes with a splayed out, open palm, high five, whatever you want to have this hand for. This looks really good. It's painted very well. It has a lot of sculpted detail in it as well. You can see like the individual parts of the fingers. Thankfully, you can't really see the fingernails because they are kind of like sculpted in there, but not too bad to where it makes it look like it's just a white hand instead of a gloved hand, but looks really good. And the hand switch out very easily. No real issues there. And then when it comes to constructs, unfortunately, this is all that we get. These are just, sort of punchy kind of Green Lantern ball things. I don't know. They just slide onto his hands, and these look, these look all right. They're not too bad. They're a harder material as well. I wish he would have come with some constructs, though, because, I mean, you can use this that came with Kyle Rayner, his like sword in that, and it doesn't look bad. Like, I kind of like the idea of the green not being as like identical to the actual suit itself, and it looks more like a construct as opposed to an actual physical object that Hal has. But it would have just been cool to get some more Green Lantern-y things to go with him. And now taking a look at the detail on Hal, the head sculpt alone on this figure is worth it. This head sculpt is just perfect for Hal Jordan. Mine has like a little bubble right there, unfortunately. It's not super noticeable when you get it into non-studio lights, and you know what, nobody's skin is perfect, so like, it's just something that point out there. On mine, it's something that doesn't personally bother me, but I know it would probably bother a lot of other people. The mask is painted well, the lips are painted well, the eyes are painted well. Just the whole figure is painted so well, and I got very, very lucky in that department because the printed on, Lantern logo could have easily been sloppy and all that, and same with the lines for his suit right here. These could have been done sloppily, and they just weren't. They turned out very nice, and I couldn't be happier with how that actually turned out. As for the body itself, I did already show Barry earlier, but this is the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body, and the proportions on this are actually fixed, so his arms look like they're small, but they're not. It's actually that he's proportionate, unlike the rest of the Multiverse figures. He looks great alongside the rest of the league that actually is proportionate. As for the back, pretty much nothing, in terms of detail other than the line work going around to give him that Silver Age look, because obviously this isn't the tried and true Hal Jordan that we're used to, where he has like the green coming onto his shoulders and that. But for a classic Hal, this is just perfection. And I really hope that we get another Hal, and it's hopefully done on the same, the old Kyle Rayner body, quote-unquote old Kyle Rayner body that has like the texture and everything, like the Sinestro and whatnot, because all the lanterns so far now that we have for the iconic looks for all of them, they've been done with this, texture on them and whatnot, and the uniformity between Sinestro, the new John, Kyle, and the new Kilowog all look great, but then you bring in this Hal, and he just doesn't fit with them. Like, the greens fit, as far as I know from pictures that I've seen. I don't unfortunately have the new John or the Kyle and Kilowog, so I will not be able to compare those. I'm so sorry for that. But as far as I know, the greens line up on that. It's just the fact that he's so smooth, and I love the fact that he's smooth on this. I kind of wish that they all looked like that, but I hope that we get a Hal that can easily be... I hope that we get a Hal that has the texturing on it and whatnot. I think that would definitely take the figure... It would set it apart, obviously, from this figure, and it would look, you know, a lot more in line with Sinestro and the rest of the Lanterns. But the easiest thing to do for that, and if you don't want to wait, and what I'm probably going to do if I can end up finding 2 of John, is getting that John from the new JLA wave and just painting the neck to match this skin tone for Hal, and call it a day. Because that, having John, Hal, Kyle, Kilowog, and then Sinestro, even though he's a yellow Lantern, obviously he's still... His suit was changed from green to yellow, so it, you know, makes sense that they would look similar. And they would be all uniform on that, and I could still have this Hal on the shelf with my Justice League, and then just have that other Hal on the shelf with my Lanterns. So, as for articulation, he's pretty much the exact same as the Blue Beetle body, you know, because it is the Blue Beetle body. And I haven't modified it or anything like that, like I said I was going to yet. So his head can go up that far, can go down, not really at all. He's got tilt, rotation, his arms go out that far, rotate all the way around, the standard, you know, shoulder joints for the McFarlane figures. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that go up that far. His wrists, you know, standard McFarlane ones, they go back and forth, or you can rotate them and then have them go up and down. As for his torso, I have not modified this, so he can only go about that far forward, unfortunately, and can go back that far. He's got rotation, tilt at both of those, you know. His legs go out all the way, which is really cool. Can go that far forward and that far back, no problem. A little bit of swivel here at the thigh, which is really good. Or I guess at the hip more so than the thigh. His knees are double jointed. His boot tops are sculpted, which, you know, they are the Blue Beetle boots, so they look really good. His feet can go back that far, up that far, ankle pivot, and of course, toe joint. And now onto some size comparisons. Here he is next to Sinestro from McFarlane Toys, obviously, as well. And then the Renew Your Vows Marvel Legends Spider-Man, and I want to show these off before I bring the League out to show you guys that we finally have a completed Justice League. There are a couple things that I'm going to change for my personal one, but this Hal marks it. We finally have a full Justice League, and they look good. And here he is with my completed Justice League. I am going to switch out this Batman for the gray and black Nightfall Batman whenever I get that. I might end up switching out the Hal and try to make that custom off the John body. We'll see, but as of right now, this is my League. I also may end up switching out the Aquaman for that JLA one, just because I really like the look of that figure. I really like my custom, though. My custom looks great, but oh man, the League looks so good together. They just all are perfection. Oh god, they just all look so good. And I think that I may just leave this in right here for the overall thoughts, just so you guys can bask in the glory of having a completed League, instead of, you know, having the thumbnail picture at the end as I talk about my overall thoughts. But I pretty much already been giving them, so I'll just say overall for the official part of it, you know. Overall, I couldn't be happier with this figure. Like I said, I'm going to modify the torso and the neck like I did on Barry to make him higher, up, to make him taller and whatnot. And then I'm going to modify it to give him more range in the torso. But as is, having Jean, Diana, Clark, Hal, Barry, Bruce, and Arthur all together, having finally, after, God, how long has McFarlane had the DC license? I mean, Jesus, they finally made a full League. And they're actually good figures, too, unlike the Rebirth Flash and that other Hal and all that. You know, there's just some slight modifications, obviously, to make them into amazing figures, other than my complete custom of Arthur. But, God, it took so long, and it was worth the wait, in my opinion. I am just so happy to have a League for my shelf. And I can't wait to add more, because we have, you know, apparently, according to the leak list, we're getting a classic Green Arrow. I am so excited for that. I hope we get a classic Black Canary at some point. And I want a Hawk Girl. I want so many others to fill out the Justice League. But having the core 7, like the core 7, is just beautiful, and I couldn't be happier. So yeah, that's going to do it for me, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.